Well, at one point, you actually, I mean, you left the mafia, but you never renounced the mafia until later on
Yes,
when you became a Christian.
correct.
Okay. And I guess you realized that being in the mafia, you know, you had to treat the boss as a god, and you realized that Jesus Christ was someone that you wanted to follow instead.
Well, I never thought of it that way. You know, look, I always say this about my former life. Did I enjoy it when I was in there? Yeah. Did I want to be the best possible mob guy I could be? Yes. Was I committed? Yes, 100%. But stepping away, I have to be honest, it's an evil lifestyle. And the reason I say it's evil, I'm not calling the guys evil, because I was one of them. I just happen to be very fortunate, blessed, actually. But I don't know any family of any member of that life that hasn't been totally devastated, including my own, not my wife and kids, but mother, father, sister, brothers. So any lifestyle that does that to a family and to people is evil. So I renounce it in that regard. You know, were there some good qualities about that life? Yeah. I mean, a life that is allegedly built on honor and respect and loyalty, do I find that admirable? I honestly do. The problem is, like anything else, like in our government today, that principle gets corrupted. You know, I saw guys die for reasons they shouldn't have died for. There's greed, there's power struggles. It's like anything else. But the principle of that life, I agreed with. I actually did. We're loyal to one another. We don't betray one another. We never violate another man's wife, mother, sister, daughter. You know, we're honest with each other. We don't call each other names. When we have a sit down or we have a dispute, we can't call each other liars. We have to be respectful. So there's a lot of good principle in that life. The problem is it gets corrupted. You know, and you know, I still look at it the same way. You know, and look, I know the government comes down on it, but you know, the government does a lot of things that are not too good also, because power corrupts. I think we see that in our everyday life. So again, I'm not glorifying the life in any way. I'm just giving you my honest opinion of it.
You know, you were in an organization that was murdering people. I'm not saying that you had anything to do with any of these murders. Right. You know, there's no statute of limitations to that, so we're not going to talk about that. But you were part of a crew of people that was killing people's husbands, fathers, brothers, friends. You know, was the Colombo family into drugs at all or no?
We were not into drugs.
Not into drugs.
We were told if we got involved with drugs, we got killed.
Okay. So you were doing drugs, but extortion, that type of thing. Do you ever look back on that and feel bad over some of the things you were involved in and feel like you have to atone to those, you know, for those things?
You know, I have regrets for things that I've done in that life, but I want you to understand that everybody talks about murder all the time. It's the most serious thing, and it is, that people attribute to the evil of that life. But here's the way we looked at it, whether right or wrong. When we come into that life, we take an oath. And at that time, we're told if we violate the oath, we could pay for it with our lives. And your best friend might be called upon because the life becomes before anything. Now, we weren't random killers. Murder was taken extremely seriously. It could only be ordered by the boss. There was always discussion about it. And, you know, we weren't doing drive-by shootings. We weren't just randomly killing people. You know, it was confined to us. And when I say us, it was we that knew that we could pay the price if we made a mistake or we did something wrong. Now, what I said before is that I saw people die for, I don't think they should have, because the life gets corrupted. But I always want to say this. We weren't random killers. We didn't go around murdering people. It was taken very seriously. And I think that's a wrap. You know, you see all of these wars. Well, who are we killing? We're killing each other. You know, we're not going out on the street and killing people. Now, you know, once in a while I've heard, you know, an innocent person got killed. Okay, 100% wrong, should never happen. None of this should happen, but it does. But I always try to make it clear. We killed each other, and we knew what we were getting into. When I walked away, I knew I could pay for this with my life, because that's the oath that I took. So we understand that.
I mean, back then when you were doing it, they did not have the kind of surveillance they have these days. You know, you had clunky, you know, if you had a recording device.
It was a Nagra. It was a,
yeah, you could feel it on under somebody's shirt. There weren't cameras on every signpost. There were no
Right.
satellites.
Correct.
There were no cell phones that you could triangulate.
That's right.
These days, being a criminal seems a lot harder.
Absolutely.
Saying that, does the mafia still exist in 2019?
The mob still exists, and I don't believe it'll go away in my lifetime. These guys are very resourceful. It's not anywhere near what it was at one point in time, because I have to say the government in the 80s did a good job. They took the union power away for the most part. You know, they took a lot of contacts that we had, power bases that we had, they took it away. Racketeering Act, Bail Reform Act, you know, all of this stuff, Sentencing Reform Act. I mean, it really, really made a dent in that lifestyle, but it's not going away.
Okay.
Certainly not in New York, Chicago, places where it's a stronghold.